Aloha, you beautiful sets of mother fathers. Welcome in another episode of the Side Hustle Podcast over on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, X,
TikTok.
audio channels, TikTok. A
TikTok.
little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Happy you're with us again. Kyle Cornell, AA Anthony Alford, as always with you. Special episode today. We got some pretty cool.
That's right. We got a big show coming up here. You do not want to miss it. Next 10 minutes, we're going to have a world heavyweight champion sitting right here, as well as the ring announcer. So we'll have EC3 and Amanda Casey. They're going to be on the show talking about Exodus Pro Wrestling, the local wrestling organization here in Cleveland, but one may say the best regional NWA affiliate.
And I think he may just say that during the interview, so make sure you guys watch.
I think it might be made clear.
They're really kind of focusing on the territory type situation now, with them obviously being in Northeast Ohio, up in here in the area. So awesome promotion. Going to talk more about their show too during that too, coming up August 24th, 6:05, down in the Waterloo district down there. It's going to be fantastic, fun show, family.
I know you got to
dads that aren't really apparently good dads. We'll talk about that later too.
If you want to be a good father,
for once. For once.
I could not.
That was great.
I could not believe. Can I tell you about BA Sweeties real quick as we get to the sweet moment of the week? Brought to you by BA Sweeties.
Yeah.
As we start this, I had an unbelievable milkshake before the show today.
Did you?
Unbelievable.
In your tie?
Yes. Yes.
You're so overdressed.
Yes, I am very overdressed for this show.
Dude, I dressed up for this. Like, I wore the button down.
We never can organize wardrobe on this show. We've been doing this 8 months. We have never been able to organize wardrobe.
Well, yeah,
Unbelievable.
it's very simple. You overdress for things, and I underdress for things.
The lack of chemistry here. I mean, what are we doing?
For all the goodness that happens when we open our mouths together, for some reason the outfits just don't really seem to. If I wanted to dress like a blues brother, I should have just asked you.
All right, fine. I'll wear, my gym. I thought I was under the impression that because we had a world champion coming in, you need to dress to impress for the world champion.
Do I not look good?
You look all right.
Really?
You look all right.
Okay.
You know what? Go to Journey 2 next Saturday, and then maybe you see some attractive people in the crowd.
We're probably both going to go to Journey 2, I would think. I think that's kind of on the agenda now. I'm kid-free next weekend, so I think I get to be a good single dad out there.
There you go. There you go. All right, let's get to it. Our sweet moment of the week brought to you by BA Sweeties, where you can get, upon request, a cookies and cream cheesecake milkshake, which you can, they have an ice cream flavor, but I asked the attendant, like, hey, can you make this a milkshake? They did. Oh, my God, it was good. The sweet moment of the week was this guy right here. No, not Kyle Cornell, but Randall Keith Orton. And I honestly, Raw was – everyone's been complimenting Raw on every part of the show, impact storytelling.
There are a couple different moments that could have been maybe up for discussion, but you kind of miss Randy Orton just having fun.
I know.
Because you know how good he is. So, like, to be able to still step out of that and have that interaction with The Miz and R-Truth.
Yeah. So the segment itself, it was brief. It was only, I think, a minute. But it was, hey, R-Truth comes in, sets up The Miz with Braun.
IC title match.
Wait a minute. Isn't he facing Sammy? Points to the screen. You put me in a match with Bronson Reed? Big Bronson. Didn't he kill Seth Rollins last week?
He was spitting up blood like it was tuberculosis back in the 13th century. Dude, run. Like, that was my thought. I was like, no.
Then Randy comes into the scene. Unbelievable pep talk. Like, it was one of those pep talks.
I want Randy Orton to be at, like, my events. Like, when we're getting hyped up, live events for, like, SummerSlam, obviously a few weekends back, whatever. Like, having that person around you to hype you up and get you that set. And then, obviously, to tell the truth after you leave and say, no.
I know. It'll tell us, like, oh, yeah, you're going to do a great job. Then
you're a two-time Grand Slam champion, Miz.
Yeah.
I mean, you did all this. You did that. You did this. He's like, you're going to beat Bronson Reed tonight. And he walks away, and R-Truth, with a moment of clarity, hey, do you really think you can do it? And he's like, ugh.
Walks over. A little honorable mention since we're talking about this story, among the sweet moment of the week, I thought Raw did a great job with the Raw physics. I don't know if you were able to catch that video, but they analyzed.
That was interesting.
It was interesting. It's an interesting concept, in particular with putting Bronson Reed and putting the Tsunami, putting that move over, and the physics. And did you not like the kangaroo?
I liked it because Pat McAfee did it.
Okay.
I think if there was anybody else just doing it, like if Cole was doing it by himself or Graves and Barrett were doing it on SmackDown, like, man, this is fucking stupid. But because it's Pat McAfee, it made it kind of entertaining and kind of funny.
Yeah. It was.
Two small elephants.
50 kangaroos. What?
Not to mention this sweet moment obviously fed into Randy Orton RKOing Gunther at one point, and then obviously that brought Drew McIntyre out, and CM Punk came out too, and it kind of fed into a really awesome overall big segment.
Yeah.
So
I think where we're getting at here now, this sweet moment of the week, and we're going to start seeing some of these sweet moments as we do this more. We're isolating one part of the show, but that doesn't mean that one part of the show doesn't have a lasting impact on other elements of the show and everything crossing over. But due to the element of this segment, we have to point out one point.
Because it was sweet, but I mean, everything else tastes pretty good too afterwards.
That is true. And that's how you get your sweet moment of the week, brought to you by BA Sweeties. Got to get that milkshake, I'll tell you. All right. When we come back after this word from BA Sweeties, NWA World Heavyweight Champion Ethan Carter III, you know him as EC3, locally he's from here. Also, ring announcer Amanda Casey, local radio personality. She's the ring announcer and she has other key roles.
Essentially the host.
Yeah, host,
babysitter,
marketing. Everything. Keep CC3 in line, all of that. That's coming up on the other side of this break. And then later in the show, so I hope you guys enjoy that interview. And then later in the show, Roman Reigns, Jacob Fatu, are they going to cross paths at any point?
What are we doing?
What's next with the original Tribal Chief? Also, will Roman wrestle in a match before Survivor Series? We'll talk about that, a couple other things as well. We hope you guys enjoy the show today. But here's a word from BA Sweeties.
Welcome in, folks. A special We Talk To edition again here of the Side Hustle Wrestling Podcast. Kyle Cornell, Double A Anthony Alfred with you as always. And we...
By the way, I apologize for fully
immediately in the
up.
intro. You just interrupt me immediately.
Of course. Always.
Jesus Christ.
Always. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm trying to introduce our awesome guests, and you're the one...
I just wanted to acknowledge...
You wore a tie?
Yeah.
You're so fancy.
This will not happen again. I just want to let you know this will not happen again.
It figures the day I wear a button down, try to dress up a little bit, you're the one that wears a tie to the...
Well, that's because we have a world heavyweight champion sitting
Give him the proper introduction. Okay, give him the proper introduction. He's a two-time former TNA World Heavyweight Champion, the current NWA World Heavyweight Champion, over 2 decades in the pro wrestling industry. Not trying to make you feel old.
I'm not old.
You're not. Damn good.
COVID years don't count.
Been in the ring with the likes of Kurt Angle, Bobby Lashley, Drew McIntyre, and then some. The names go on and on and on. He's gracing us with his presence today. Ethan Carter III, a.k.a. EC3.
Hello.
Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you very much. And I will
happy to have you on.
I mentioned how good you look. I'm like, you did not wear that for me, did you? And then she informed me, no, he came from a funeral. And I was like,
I didn't mean to blow your cover.
I'm sorry.
The death of the polos. That's where he came from. Yeah.
Yeah. That's right. That's right.
Casket full of purple polos. There you go.
And this is special for me because sitting next to EC3,
arguably the bigger guest at this point.
the world champion.
I don't
The
know.
reason why I'm actually
No offense,
excited,
EC3. No, he's
She's awesome.
she is a well-known radio talk personality here in the Cleveland area. Well-known. In fact, this might be past her bedtime.
I've worked that shift. I feel it.
I know. It's just making things happen, and she is also the ring announcer for Exodus Pro Wrestling, Amanda Casey. She's here. Now, let me go to Amanda first, because I have to know, just from this combination, she hits me up a year ago.
Yeah.
She's like, Anthony, you have to go to this wrestling show. She points out Exodus Pro Wrestling. I'm like, cool, local. EC3, is on. I'm like, oh, cool, all right, bet. Why do you care? I don't know. I'm like, that was my first. So, Amanda, how did all of this get started with you and just you two together?
Yeah, how did serendipity bring us together?
I feel like it was an accident, to be
Definitely
honest with
was.
you. And you know how the broadcasting community is very, close. We all cross over in a lot of ways. And same with our broadcasting school. There was a graduate from the school who had been my intern, Chelsea, that was wrestling with the league. And so we set up some interviews for these guys. They came down to do some promo, and we brought them into the show. And Chelsea's like, do like a ring announcement. And man, that's my thing. Get out of here. I've been doing Carlos Baerga, like announce anything. Just bring me to it, and I will do it. So she's like, you want to come out? You want to fill in and do the show this weekend? And I'm like, sure, yeah, I'll do a show. And then I did another show, and then I did another show. And, my role has kind of flexed and flowed a little bit. And
It's kind of a feeling out process.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
I think you thrive in the role, because what makes you so valuable, so unique, is her charisma, her ability to communicate with people. And she's not necessarily from the wrestling world, which I love, because bringing people that are non-wrestling affiliated, you can kind of open up doors to so many other people that should and would like wrestling if the right person brought them to it. But with her background, her soothing voice, she's great as kind of a facilitator of conversation. She will interview talent. She will make ring announcements when necessary. She'll engage the fan base when there's lulls and dead spaces, or when I need to yell and scream at people backstage and the show's not going on time because I'm screaming at people. But she handles everything, and very much to her own devices. I kind of just go be you. And she does her better than anybody does her. She does
my
herself.
It's like,
Great guy.
wait a minute now.
She does what she does, and she does it very well, and we're very happy to have her. So
It's very much like the host of the show, essentially.
Yeah.
You're kind of keeping
Kind of,
things in
yeah.
line and in check.
And it's so entertaining, and it's so fun, and the shows are better and better and better. And I have found myself so obsessed with the different stories going on, and now I get to go sit there with the best view in the house, and I don't have to pay for a ticket. So it's a win-win for me. But meanwhile, I can't stop talking about it to other people, because really, if you're a fan at any level, this is just such a great experience. If it's a family, if it's a boys' night out, it does not matter the type of people. Everybody comes out and has the best time. I like to compare it to, for example, like the Guardians and farm teams, and you've got the different levels. And when I worked for the Lake County Captains, the big push was like, some of these guys are going to end up with the Guardians, and you have a chance to be this close right now. So why would you miss that opportunity? And it's the same thing. I'm watching these wrestlers grow and get better and move their way up through the industry, and it's just been very inspiring and really fun to watch.
It's pretty cool, especially, again, I remember just a year ago being, this thing starting with Exodus Pro Wrestling. And I want to mention here that coming up August 24th, 6:05 p.m., and we'll talk about the 6:05 significance for the younger audience here in a second. But Exodus Pro Wrestling presents Journey 2, August 24th, 2024, 6:05, start time to bell, doors open at 5:05. Right here in Cleveland. We'll have the graphic up just a little bit. 6:05. What's the significance, EC3, of the 6:05 start
Well,
time
I believe it's
for our younger audience?
It's a throwback to NWA of lore, if you would like to give them an education. Because it was brought to my attention because I grew up a WWF fan. So I didn't know the NWA television schedule. Now, I acclimated myself as I became a student of the game of NWA and all the greats whose title I now hold, the Flairs and the Steamboats and the Funks and the Rhodes and the O'Connors and the Thezes and, just
Sorry, I
couple-
took a deep breath there. I was like,
Yeah.
holy crap.
Get
Okay.
him.
A couple-
You writing this down?
a couple names to drop, but yeah, like the significance of that, the territorial shows being on 605. If we can pay homage to the past, I think that's cool. So
How important, as far as like development? So exactly, what is your role with Exodus Pro, and overseeing, I guess, the development of the roster?
I would call myself the sovereign chief of Exodus Pro.
Okay.
Okay, so what does that mean? Whatever the fuck I want it to be.
There it is.
I'm in charge. No, I mean, I don't want to say something of like, I'm the president or the CEO. Like, I've created it with a great team. I'm sort of the helpful guide. I'm sort of the liaison, the leader, as though I'm the NWA World's Heavyweight Champion. I'm also seeing what the future may hold for me, and that's evaluating, crafting, cultivating the talent of the future, which I'm really, really good at. They can't beat me yet, which is cool, because I'm still the best ever. But
Get him.
someday, someday they might, but someday those roles will need to be filled, and I want them to be filled with the right people, the right kind of talent that, I don't know, the show initiative, the show drive, the kind that believe like hard work's going to beat talent 10 times out of 10, and I believe that. But the thing about everybody that's on that show is they work hard, but they're extremely talented. So I don't know, just with what I've been able to learn and pick up through my 20 years of doing this at extremely
Yes, sir. I
high
didn't mean to
level.
hate you there. I apologize.
Nah, it's true. Extremely high level is like, how can I pay that forward and pass it on? And I'm sort of a genius. Maybe I'm a psychopath.
Most are.
Maybe I'm vain, but maybe I'm very humble. I'm not quite sure yet. But what I do know is that I give everything I can to those people, those talents, and in return, they give everything to Exodus. And it's for their future, and it's for the future of the industry.
You know, Double A, you actually brought up a question I thought was really intriguing, too. There's a focus a lot these days on storytelling
There should be.
in wrestling across the landscape, whether it's from WWE all the way down to the independents, everything, too, and everywhere in between, right? The emphasis on that kind of now, especially when you see certain other people taking over companies and doing things a certain way and getting more people involved in the product, more people going to shows like Exodus, like the other local shows around Cleveland even, too.
Yeah.
Can you guys place the importance on that? Because some people feel like it's only about doing moves and about wrestling. Some people think it's only about the promo, but it's really a combination of it all, telling a full story, isn't it?
Wrestling could be Baskin Robbins, man. There's 31 flavors. But I think she would say it. If she was at a show where people were just doing quadrubrated moonsaults and suicide topes and tornado DDTs and Canadian destroyers, she wouldn't care. But what she does care about is the character. And I kind of have a hierarchy of wrestling needs. Where at the bottom, it's super important. Number 3, this little pyramid, imagine it, you have the word wrestling. Above that, you have the word story. But on top of that, which is the most important part, is the character. If you don't have character, something to invest in, something to love, something to loathe, then nothing else matters. But if you have the character, something to love, something to loathe, something you're invested in, something you can resonate with, those other two, they become easy.
Okay.
A great match is based on great characters. A great story is based on great characters. And I think that's the approach we should all have. So, like, it's super important, but, it doesn't mean the wrestling stinks or, these guys are such great promos that they can't work. They don't have the work rate or the moveset. No, they're fantastic wrestlers. But what they need is that character to kind of push them forward, push them to the top. It's the one way to stand out, because you can throw a rock at a wrestling show and hit a good wrestler, but to have a great character is what's needed.
You guys have so many too. You guys.
So many.
We do.
We do.
We
do.
Amanda, you work there too.
It's crazy to me though. It's down to the smallest detail and the smallest part and the smallest character. And Groovy Grizzlies is probably my favorite example, because we are talking about human-sized tie-dye bears that I don't know how, but they got me so invested in their well-being. One was captured, was
literally.
finally returned to
Kidnapped.
his owner, and the wrestler that they belong with, Man Bun Jesus, he's definitely one of my favorites as well. But to be that invested in the Bears or Towel Boy, Who
Oh
would've
my God,
thought?
what's his backstory? I gotta know now. I need to
Cowboy?
know.
If it's not
Jay-
South Park related, I'm a little disappointed.
I need to know.
It's even better.
Cowboy, his real name's Jay Akira. He trains at the CYN Cooperative. But the reality of his story, I don't want to tell it yet because we're going to get there. But what he did is he sacrificed a lot for this business. He sacrificed a lot to come here and try out and stick with us. And just finding him a unique place to be on the show where one of our talents, Brandon Day, the Unchained King, is sort of like a MMA badass type dude, where I always thought, wouldn't a guy that is doing MMA have a charismatic towel boy? And lo and behold, the towel boy, it just got over, and it came down to two simple words that I gave him. Hey, before you go out there, just say, "Yeah, boy." And he looked at me like, "What? Are you sure?"
Wow.
And he went out there and he said, "Yeah, boy." And then imagine that, every person in that building said, "Yeah, boy," right back at him. And he comes back and goes, "You are a genius." And I'm like, "I know."
The kid says it with his whole body.
He does. But it's like you can give that kid any sort of word, phrase, moment. He just has a very unique energy. And like the reality of his story is so, it's heartbreaking yet impressive. And it's like it's a real underdog story. So to get there, how do you get there? You got to make people care about somebody. If I throw him out there and he tells this story of troubled youth and lost cause and being homeless, people are going to be like, "Man, that's pretty fucking heavy." And they're not going to be kind of like, "I kind of feel bad for the guy." But if he's known, adored, and loved on a very simple basis, we can then progress and kind of break down his reality. So you already know him a little bit. Now you're learning more about him.
That's pretty sweet. And let me get Amanda in on this one because from first, you being in the talk business, you know the importance of selling a story and bringing people in. So whether somebody is at an Exodus Pro show for the first time or for the 10th time, like how important is telling a story to your crowd, to that crowd? Like what's the importance of that, on a show like this?
Before you get there, I would just like to say she facilitates stories very well too, by her reactions and her interactions. So everything these characters have, like, is enhanced by what she does. But go ahead.
Thank you. I would say the really cool thing about it is that if it is your first show, and obviously a lot of the stories are ongoing from previous shows, you don't need to necessarily know to be able to catch what's going on. There are a lot of regulars that come back and they definitely set a vibe and a tone, but every single wrestler gets you to have some sort of intense feeling about them, whether it's love or hate. And they're all so good at pulling that out of everyone. I mean, I cannot tell you how impressed I've been with the level of reaction they're able to get, because I did not expect that, and I'm to the point now where I'm watching maybe the big guys and I'm fast forwarding through things because I'm getting bored because they do it better, and now I'm so used to seeing them move through things quickly and professionally. But I mean, they play on the silliest thing that you might not even realize is important to you, like a Nickelback song.
Like a Nickelback song.
A guy coming out to a Nickelback song
Please
from the
tell me
back
he's a heel.
bar.
He's a baby face. He comes from the
Yes.
bar. Listen,
They
he's got
love him.
Kroger-like energy. Nickelback, don't.
And I hate
don't
Nickelback, and I still sing it when he comes out.
I think I just gave away about the Nickelback. I'm like, I don't know.
He was like Amanda, a gift from the gods, because he reminded me of my frat buddy from college, who I always wanted to make a wrestling character. Then one day Sam Beal showed up and I'm like, holy shit, you're really him. And so it was very easy to plug him in. But like she mentions, there's campiness and silliness to kind of invest in, but I kind of look at it like a Marvel movie.
Okay.
All right, so Deadpool versus Wolverine is what made $550 million.
Great movie.
Yeah.
Great movie.
But the characters, and Deadpool's pretty freaking silly. Wolverine, though as serious he is, shows his ass a little bit, and he's able to be poked fun at. Like that whole Marvel franchise. I mean, I stopped watching at Endgame, short of Deadpool Wolverine, because I knew it was over. But And I'm right.
This is nice. He's saying all the controversial
Yeah.
stuff.
Oh
I'm
my
good. This is great. Take on Disney. Yeah, go ahead.
Kyle is taking this episode off. He's just,
Cool.
But, like, I mean, you have Tony Stark, and you're crying when he's with his daughter stuff. But at the same time, you're laughing with him when he's cutting one-liners and kicking ass. And so that's the kind of atmosphere we like to create. So
Making people feel things too is really important. You can go to any show across the city, right? There's baseball games. We're gonna have football again soon, all that stuff. But what's gonna pull emotion out of you? What's gonna bring that out? It's almost more on the characters that you guys build on a day in day out basis to keep that up and to keep the people that do. Oh, it's a wrestling show. Okay, I'm gonna go check it out. To make them want to come back again and experience that all over again.
I think from my perspective, being a talent who's had creative troubles with multiple companies at certain times, and creative has nothing for you and all that shit here online, which is vaguely true, but sometimes the worst part of those situations was like when nothing mattered, when you would build things up, because as a talent, one thing that's important is cash, right? But the other thing is creative, and we're not actors, we're extensions of ourselves. And when you invest in yourself and you're trying to tell the story and you're putting yourself out there, if you're brave enough to be vulnerable and really try to show the crowd something and, elicit an emotion, but then somebody in creative's like, oh, we're changing plans, this doesn't matter. Oh, the guy I was feuding with last week over dire straits, now we're buddies for no reason and we don't get to explain it. So I'm just able to facilitate talent so they don't ever have to feel that. Now, sometimes we might have to pull these things because things change, but I know what that feels like, and I don't want anyone to go through it because you're at your best when you're fully invested in what you're doing and who you are, and so keep that.
so, are you responsible for the writing, or do you have a full team? How's the creative?
I would very much call it collaborative.
Okay.
So yes, I'm the genius in charge with the pencil. But I have
A
great
business
help.
card somewhere, or how does that work?
Shout
It's
out.
this right here.
This.
That's a pretty damn
I've
good
been
business card. Yeah, I was gonna
been
say.
staring at this world championship. this
The
entire
glare is
time.
hitting me just right, so
It's-
it's great. I'm gonna put my glasses on in a second.
I'll give a personal shout out to Noah, who is my creative protege, but has really taken everything in stride and has grown in his own way and fully capable of doing this by himself, which is awesome. But really, it's collaborating with the talent too. In other places, here's what we're doing. Why? And then, I don't know. Well, I will go to talent. Here's what I want to do. Why? Well, I think this, this, and this. Why? What do you think? Well, I think this, and this. That's actually a good idea. Maybe we do this, this, and this then. That works. And then if they feel part of the process, they're going to give you their best effort. If they're a part of the process, people are going to feel it because if they believe what they're doing, the fans are going to believe.
Believe that.
What's in the year that you guys out, and this is for the both of you and your respective roles, what's been the biggest challenge with Exodus Pro and making sure that this is a successful company? And I guess, do you like where the promotion is right now?
I love where we are now. I would say the biggest challenge, as much as I pat myself on the back, I am no businessman.
But balancing the books.
Yeah, books and buildings and marketing. And I can't even look at my phone. My brain hurts so much sometimes. Social media and doing all those necessities. But we have Gary, who's very much on the business end, and Amanda's helping out with marketing, and a lot of the talents have found a calling trying to promote it. But I'd say promotion, marketing, I think the hardest thing in any avenue, sport, I love the Guardians. How many games have I gone to this year? 0. And it's just it's hard for me to get up. Well, literally, because my body's broken. But in theory, coming off the road, getting up, the driving, parking, paying to park, spending $40, $50, $80 on 3 beers,
What?
yeah.
I hate that shit so much, but
It's all right.
I love it.
Getting people to pay money to come sit in an uncomfortable seat for 2.5 to 3 hours, you have to give them something worth doing that, and that's hard to make sure. It's hard to be consistent with that. So marketing would be my biggest thing. So thanks for the shout out, boys.
hey, no problem. How about you?
ExosProWrestling.com. Buy your tickets now.
ExoProWrestling.com.
Thank you. See, I don't know the
Buy your
website.
tickets
See,
now.
that's
This
the
is why she
marketing-
came.
That's
This is
the
why she
marketing
came.
genius
to make
right
sure,
there.
Saturday, August 24th at the Tree Lawn Music Hall in the Waterloo Arts District. But ExoProWrestling.com for those tickets. But I would say the first challenge
I
for
can
me.
tell you're a radio person just sneaking in plugs.
I tell them all the time I do nothing but pimp XO Pro. And it's because it's so good and I want everyone to share it with me. You know what I mean? But I would say my first challenge was just really understanding the business because growing up a fan made no difference. It doesn't matter that I saw Cactus Jack limping through a parking garage away from, paramedics as a child. That didn't help prepare me for the role. I will say the most helpful thing to me in understanding these guys and like the hard work was the documentary that came out on Netflix about a similar league. And I won't give them any name mentions unless you
go
have
ahead.
a belt again. But OVW, they had the
I'm
wrestlers.
still a champ there.
See?
Yeah,
this
so
man
that's
just
okay.
takes over
I
everything.
wasn't on the show, but yeah.
But it definitely, who I noticed now because I went back and started watching it is
Kale.
Tiffany Nieves
Tiffany,
in the
yeah.
background and different things, and she's with us every show. She is amazing, La Princesa.
She's a sweetheart.
She's the best at everything.
She is.
but learning just their side of it and how hard they work and the things they sacrifice to be able to just have opportunity to be seen, I had to have the right kind of respect for what these guys are doing so that it could be returned. So that was probably like my first major challenge, was really understanding their side of the business. The secondary part is I have a traumatic brain injury. My memory is like this long. So
I'm Kyle. This is Anthony.
Well, nice to meet you. Let me turn around and we can do it again. So like
3, 2,
I would say my challenge in a lot of stuff that I do is sometimes forgetting things, like when I interview, we have a wrestler who is nothing but business. He's strictly business. Brandon Beretta. And he's one of the guys that I get to interview, and I love interviewing him because his answers are so short intentionally because he's there for business. He's not there for show.
I actually just wrote a segment between you two.
Did you
before
really?
came.
Awesome.
Let's go.
Awesome.
Let's
But I
go.
hate the fact that I have to reference my notes. I wish I could just remember, to make things more smooth and more streamlined as we continue to move on. I believe we're going to be possibly live streaming
We are.
this next show.
Yeah, we can talk about
so
that.
it puts the pressure on a little bit more to just make my part as professional and seamless as possible.
Could I make it easier for you?
How?
I don't know. I'm asking.
No.
Okay.
This is a
It's a
meeting.
show
This
meeting
is a
inside
show
of the show,
meeting
yeah.
right now.
Do you know how special I feel getting to be in those
Oh.
production meetings? Because there's only like a few people, and then we do like the round circle of chairs, and I watch him get frustrated over and over because we all keep cracking jokes while he's trying to get to the business. But yeah, no, it's been fun.
I was gonna say, since you brought it up about the next show and about the news of the streaming,
Yeah. It's we're gonna be streaming live on the NWA's YouTube, which is youtube.com/NWA. youtube.com/NWA.
Good job.
So
Dramatic pause for a
yeah,
fact.
becoming that the territory and how we're kind of reimagining them with NWA's move to CW app and the network, where we're not broadcasting power on there, so we have this giant YouTube show, our following, without a lot of content being uploaded. So Noah suggested we try to go live on their thing, and I pulled some strings and made some idle threats, and we're going to be live. But I mean, this is the first time we've had a year of shows, but you can't watch them yet because don't know how, but I know the content game and how to distribute can be a very lucrative business, and how it can provide residual income, not to line my pockets necessarily, but to continue to grow the business. So kind of trying to figure out how to do that over this year. Haven't gotten it there yet, but this show I think is ready. It's a great day one for people to see it. So streaming live on the NWA YouTube, 5,000 people could watch, 10,000, 500,000, I don't know, but that's what makes it so exciting. So we'll
Can
see what
I
happens.
ask him a question?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, please.
Okay, so I was catching what I believe is the latest episode of Power. Are we not the first territory?
We are the first territory.
So why is the Kazanas dude talking about he's the first territory?
Because they're insane and they're making a trivial fight out of nothing. Like, here's what did Michael Jordan care what Hakeem Olajuwon did, or did he focus on winning every championship? So they can say whatever they want. They do these little snide internet like comments like, "Oh, it's a good idea I came up with first." They're so peanut butter and jelly of how awesome we are. In theory, we were the first territory. They may have been to be the first territory, but I don't give a fuck because we're the best. We're the top territory, and I don't look at second place, okay? I don't give one iota of a shit of what they think and what they say, nor do I really care what anybody really says. Opinions are like assholes. Everyone has them. Only few are worth looking at. Right? So
Here.
while they're busy making on Power talking about we're the first territory, like anybody watching even knows what the hell they're talking about. I'm out there cashing checks, defending world championships, building Exodus into what it is, providing the future of the industry, a fucking platform, and the damn, hopefully, real life income one day. So, yeah, all right, maybe they're first. Who cares? We're best.
Talk about this world championship. Talk about the importance of this world title.
Oh, I thought. Oh, it's very important. It's a very important title.
Strictly
No, I mean, you got to think about the lineage and the legacy of it, like the names affirmated that I mentioned. Casually, who have held that to kind of be the one that is holding it now as this company is building towards a new future and a new era. You know, it's a daunting responsibility where I'm loaded on a lot of ends, creating Exodus, defending this title, being the top guy at NWA. I think I'm the top guy at OVW. I mean, being a top guy everywhere I go. But heavy is the head that wears the crown. Luckily, I have a very big head, and that's a perfect crown to put on top of it. It's very meaningful. It's very historic. It's a great honor. But also, if you look at, I don't know, if you look at it like what is or what's to come, you lose the value of being present in the moment. So that's one thing I learned in this business is like, if you're present in the moment, you're going to enjoy it a lot more instead of worrying about what's to come. But I'll be defending that August 24th against Richard Holiday. I don't know if you know of
Heard
him.
about this guy.
He's a
I
real...
like
You
him.
picked that thing up, didn't you?
like
Yeah, you
him.
shouldn't be touching that. It's yours.
Yeah,
What the hell's going
I
on with
like
that?
him.
He's the first person actually to bash me over the head with it, causing me to bleed my own blood.
Whoop
So
his ass.
I might have
Ben
to.
Stiller his ass, honestly, yeah. Nobody makes
I may have
EC3
to.
beat his own blood.
But like,
Nobody.
he's another guy, a great talent who has had great successes. He literally overcame cancer. I don't know if you know that about him. Doesn't mean he's not a dickhead, but he did overcome cancer. And though he's not affiliated with the NWA at the moment, like bringing him into Exodus, I've always seen a lot of potential in him, a lot of stardom in him. I see where people made mistakes with him and how I can probably push him forward. It just so happens it came at the expense of my own head, and now this title match. But regardless, actually, it's probably the biggest challenge I have to date as champion. So, pretty cool. But it's August 24th, and yes, I will defeat him. I will beat him to death with the mustache on his face. We will make him a bigger star in the process, and then maybe he takes that and parlays into success in the NWA or elsewhere. But he's a very talented guy and should be somewhere.
I always wondered how you could take a mustache off someone, beat him with it, and put it back on without using like a staple gun. or anything like
Follicle by follicle.
that. There you go. Yeah.
Arduous process.
Yeah, baby steps, right? Yeah. Practice makes perfect.
One at a time.
So I'd be remiss, EC3, if I didn't ask you a little bit about your entire career. We talked
Go
about
ahead.
how long you've been in the business, putting in work for a good chunk of time. Tell me about April 14th, 2003, Sunday Night Heat against Rodney Mack, your very first WWE match.
No, that wasn't me.
You went in deep in the crate.
No, I never wrestled Rodney Mack.
Really?
Rodney Mack is one half of the NWA Tag Team Champions. It's part of Blunt Force Trauma. But no, my very first WWE match was it was a tag team match where I tagged with Chris Cronus against Charlie Haas and Viscera. And that was at the Gund, which was
Okay.
the Q, and now is the Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse.
Wow.
So, is that Wikipedia? Because they're fucking liars. They are
I did a little bit of
liars.
extra. I was curious about
Are
it.
we able to edit a Wikipedia
No.
entry
No.
on the show?
I've been trying to edit it for years because I'm like, lie, nope, not true, half truth, nope, I hate it. Like, there's missing sections of no
I
context.
put myself in there. Please don't edit it.
Oh no,
Saved.
you cannot source Wikipedia on a college paper, nor should you on an interview. But
No.
if that was the date of that match, I can tell you, I mean, that's where it all started, starting on the Indies in Cleveland,
Yeah.
where weekend warrior kind of thing. Like, yeah, it's my hope, it's my dreams, I want to do it. But when I walked out of there for the first time to get my ass handed to me by a 500-pound man, I knew the second I walked out there that no matter what I do with my life, if I don't pursue this fully, I will think it's a waste. So,
Honestly, like, yeah, going up against that kind of person too, right off the bat.
yeah.
Like, I'm sure, hey, great guy behind the scenes, all that stuff too, but it's got to be a little bit intimidating to walk out and see that coming your way.
Yeah, he had a big trash bag suit on. I don't know if you remember Big Vis. Dark blue eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your complexion. The blonde hair.
Uh-huh. Yep.
Yep, 500 pounds. He did a thing where he'd, can I say molest the guy? It was
That's
kinda
pretty much what
was he
happened.
laid on the guy, right?
Yeah,
It
that's
was-
pretty much
Call
what
it as
happened.
we see it at this
That's what
point.
I saw when I was
Yeah.
watching.
I
That's
didn't,
what I watched.
I didn't get molested, but I definitely got Samoan dropped and pinned. So,
There's no HR in the ring. No.
No,
she's HR too.
You do that too?
so many hats.
I do whatever they need for the most part.
I am curious though about the runs. Obviously, you mentioned growing up a WWF fan, having a couple different kind of go-throughs in at least the WWE umbrella, be it through NXT when it first started as Florida Championship Wrestling. Obviously, then in the latter parts of the new kind of NXT era, making it back to the main roster. Your thoughts kind of on that time, and I can't help but notice someone you probably know pretty well, formerly Eli Drake, now LA Knight.
Yeah, he's killing it.
Kind of the same skill set as you, man. The same kind of mic skills, same
Yeah.
builds, same, kind of.
I don't know if I can
avenue.
jump to the top rope like him anymore. I
Yeah, that's
used to.
crazy. He still does that. It's nuts.
But no,
but-
like I'm seeing him against Logan. It's Logan, right? Paul? I don't know the Pauls.
I always
But
mix them up.
yeah, but at SummerSlam, part of me is like, that should be me. But it shouldn't. No, it should be him, and he did awesome. Very happy for his success.
yeah.
But like he's been through the system a couple times too. So there's very similar stories. We both reinvented ourselves in TNA and Impact, and I mean, I don't know what the question is other than I'm very happy for him, and he's doing very well.
Yeah, I think just for me, like because of how talented you are, I'm not trying to blow smoke up your ass at all. Like I actually
I'll
think
take
but I've watched like your career throughout the year, especially in TNA, working through coming back to WWE again. What do you think happened in that situation? I mean, we talked about bad creative earlier. That's always an excuse, but I mean, like you have everything they're looking for, especially now. I guess the overarching question is, when are we going to see you possibly back in one of those arenas again, be it WWE, be it AEW, one of those major promotions, because you have that level of talent to be not only a top guy, what you're doing now, which is awesome, and you kill it, but on that level too, you fit in.
Yeah.
You really do.
Well, I'm better than everybody. I'm aware. But I am the NWA World Champion for a reason. So
I'll take that shit on the show.
there's four times in wrestling, and I'll tell this to like the young guys a lot. And there's the wrong place at the wrong time. There's the right place at the wrong time. There's the wrong place at the right time. But the only time it's ever going to work out for you is the right place at the right time. So
Just describe my
yeah.
love life. Go ahead.
It's true, right?
Go ahead, continue.
I got the tissues in the bag, buddy. We'll talk later.
It
Thank
works
you. Right after this
at
interview. Thank you.
quantum levels. But I mean, for LA Knight, he was in the right place at the right time, where I might have been in the wrong place at the right time, or the right place at the wrong time, or the wrong place at the wrong time. Probably the wrong place at the wrong time the first time, and then the right place at the wrong time on the second go around. But you can't look to the past and make blames. Oh, this happened, or the creative is bad, or this got pulled, or whatever. Like at the end of the day, what did I do about it? I could have done more. And whether that more would have been storming into crazy fall from grace Vince McMahon's office and tell him he's a complete psychopath for not utilizing me properly, which I didn't do, but maybe I should have. Maybe I should have not been afraid to get fired in an effort to push myself forward, as opposed to what a lot of talents would have is the complacency to not say anything, not do anything, complain behind the backs, complain to others, but safely cash their checks. So if anyone's to blame, it's me.
I gotta ask you this real quick. Actually, for the both of you, in Exodus, been around, for a year.
Yeah.
For the both of you, your favorite storyline.
Ooh.
Favorite storyline in Exodus Pro over the last year.
I don't want to say it, Mike from State Farm's very bad years.
Oh
Very,
my God.
very
Mike
funny to
from
me.
State
But he's such a train wreck. Oh, so Mike. That's the fact of freaking. We got an insurance salesman
He really is a State Farm agent, Mike Fabert.
over to a wrestling fan base is a testament to what we can do. But,
I want to. I was a part of the first crowd.
when the check got stolen the first time.
Yeah.
Yep. we kind of started that chant for the.
It's good. And you know what? It's skyrocketing. But now, like, he kept losing the checks, and he kept doubling down, and then he kept getting screwed, and then he lost everything. I mean, I think his wife left him. His house was foreclosed on. His business is still good.
His dog ran away.
No, his dog died.
Oh, his dog
Oh,
died.
not
Yeah,
the dog.
I
Why
know.
couldn't the
Oh,
wife
not the
die?
dog
and
went to
dog run
Disneyland.
away?
Maybe we should
Oh,
change
wasn't
it.
it?
No,
But
no.
then, like, he's, at the last show, he finally was like, 3 days sober, and the crowd went crazy, and then Tiffany Nieves turned him down.
3 days.
He relapsed immediately.
Oh, sorry.
I think
That'll happen, man.
that's not my favorite, but it's one of them. I'll let you go while I think of it.
No, that one's definitely very fun. But honestly, it's been probably for me been the whole thing with the Groovy Grizzlies. Aaron Stevens coming out and doing shows with us, and being the best bad guy. He knows how to be
Remember
the
when he-
nicest dude ever, though. Sorry, he's really nice to me at least.
He's the real genius when it comes to creative, and what he's been able to do with talent and really bring them up levels is absolutely insane. Like the fact that's his calling, I think. But great story, yeah. Remember when he pulled the hat off and it was really him the whole time?
Oh, as a Groovy
Oh.
Grizzly?
What a crowd couldn't believe it.
It was amazing. It was definitely. He started recruiting other wrestlers,
Oh
and then
my
they
God.
changed their last name to his last name, and then it would literally they'd bring this bear out in chains, and it
Oh,
would
hell
break
no.
my heart.
Oh, my God.
And every time I would find myself, and probably I should have answered the biggest challenge of this job is not yelling like a fan while I'm watching the
Oh.
show, because
Oh.
I'm over there like, give the bear back for the love of God. It's so fun. It's just so fun to be a part of.
You gotta post those like Samantha Irvin, like every time like something happened.
She experienced.
I don't
the
want
show.
that
It's
heat,
crazy.
man.
Yeah.
I don't want the heat that poor woman gets on social.
I think the heat is very unnecessary
It is,
from
honestly.
certain fans. They're out of.
I don't know what we're talking about. Who?
Samantha Irvin. That's right. You don't know. You only care about the best.
Yeah. I do.
You're rubbing off on me. This is a problem.
The loyalty.
It's a
I'll
and-
tell you what.
I would say storyline-wise, conclusively everything, due to the fact you can watch, like that story. It kind of came to light at the last show where everything we've been kind of pushing forward, hearing Dante Casanova walk out to a superstar reaction. While has every skill and talent to be a superstar, he just hasn't had the platform yet. Where I'm like, that works. To watching Pretty Boy Smooth and CeeLo come out, where I write CeeLo. Here's what I write for a Pastor CeeLo script. Go be Pastor CeeLo. And I just let him go, and he nails it. And Pretty Boy comes out looking like a star. The reactions Man Bun and Sam Beal got before our main event last show. Like, the fulfillment of watching everything working, not based on what I'm doing, but based on what they're doing. Can't beat it, man.
PB, our current champ. He is insanely impressive in his ability to control himself and what's going on around him without looking like he's paying attention to it.
Wow.
I sat ringside holding a belt for one of the shows, and something happened where people came over the rope, people on the floor, everybody was going everywhere, and I could see the control in him. And not once was I ever worried about my safety. I mean, these men and women are such professionals on so many levels, but that one moment I was like, that's why he's our champ.
And it seems like the in-ring quality from day one to now, and what we're going to see next week, has leaps and bounds improved from
Sure.
day one. And it's a testament to the standard that you got, that you set, and the whole nine, everything.
It's a testament to the talent stepping up to the plate, really. So, we provide the platform, they knock it out.
All right, we're almost at the end here. So, for those who are thinking, Maybe I should go to this show.
If they're a wrestling fan locally in Cleveland watching this show, they have to go to the show. I don't know why they wouldn't go to the show. It's a top quality show. It's on the cusp of being something great. You can get in on the ground floor because the only place we're going is up. Okay? If you love great wrestling, if you're Meltzer Mark and you count stars, guess what? We have 5-star matches.
God, don't get me fucking started.
I hate him. If you're a
Stick around
cat,
for the rest of the show.
if you're a smart mark who I like the flippy. Guess what? Guys do flips. They do them when it makes sense, and they do them to maximum reaction. If you're somebody who's a casual fan, I'm a father. I like wrestling. I need something to do. Guess what? Kids 12 and under. What are they? $10? Good. For $40, you can bring the whole family to Exodus Pro and have an astoundingly good time and be a good dad for once. I mean, if you've never seen wrestling and you're watching this show, if for some reason you stumbled onto this show, I don't know how, you would. But if you're local in Cleveland and you don't even know what wrestling is, I encourage you to go because we have drink specials, we have food specials, we have attractive people in the audience, so it's not like a regular wrestling show. There's really legitimate human beings that come to this show.
That's a big sales pitch.
Yeah.
See, that's honestly
So,
huge.
I didn't mean to interrupt you, but what was your question?
No, that was the question. Get the
You have
sales
to.
pitch for the next show, and you answered it.
Main event. First time ever, Richard Holiday, the most marketable, EC4 he was once called, gets to challenge EC3 for the NWA Heavyweight Championship. The tag team titles will be decided. J-Rock, Rex Brody, two Cleveland local legends. Is this their last chance? Last chance for glory against the main event, who are just a ginormous tag team making waves all across the Northeast. Dante Casanova challenges Pretty Boy Smooth in two of my personal favorite creations finally just mashing together. You have a giant and you have a warrior. That sounds cool to me. Sam Beal, Man Bun Jesus, and Lord Cruz spin kicking the faces off of the slime balls, and Carson Dre. Young upstart Cal Hero returns to face young upstart Hayden Backlund. Yes, of that Backlund fame. Tiffany Nieves is in a fatal four-way for the women's championship against It's Maya World, who's been tearing it up, against Kelsey Heather, who's been tearing it up, against Kylie Page, who's been tearing it up in the NWA. What else do we have? The Caesar Skirmish. Cristiano Argento, Real Italian Excellence, the Caesar of Exodus Pro. Yes, he won a Toga Battle Royal.
Okay.
The
this is
Julius
big deal
Caesar
now. This is
Memorial
big deal
Tournament.
now. Let's
He
go.
won it.
Let's
This
go.
man, I don't know how he makes his voice crack like that when he talks, but
He does.
it's so fun. You don't even understand.
Imagine if the Miz was Italian. That's him. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, we got him.
Wow.
Live in
Forget
Exodus
about
Let's
Pro.
go. Let's go.
He will have 5 unnamed opponents. Will be running in, and it's going to be a skirmish. So, I don't know. I think that's the whole card. Yeah, it's going to be great.
Amanda, did he leave anything out?
Amanda's hosting.
Do I have who are my coworkers that day? We got
Well, you'll be sitting with the lovely Linda.
Ugh,
We'll be doing
Linda
ring
Kay.
announcing. Linda Kay.
of OVW. I love Linda. She's so amazing. She's such a professional, but she is such a pleasure to work with. So very exciting to have her out.
That's right. And then the man on the street, Josh, is going to be sitting on play-by-play.
The guy with the bow tie,
The guy with
Josh
the bow tie
Gonai.
will be sitting on play-by-play.
Josh Gonai. Say
We
it
told
right.
him today, he sent me a heart emoji, and I replied, "Don't send me this yet. I'm a ruthless producer."
He probably cried though.
I'm going to be all over. I know. I got to push these guys.
He's going to be so good though. This is a kid who is a fan.
Oh, good.
Like my God, the wrestling runs through his veins. He loves it like a child, and
does.
so just very, very eager to learn. And this is somebody who's not even wrestling. To see him be taken under the EXO Pro wing and kind of help him develop, and having the opportunity to get in front of. Can we mention William Patrick?
William Patrick will be watching, yes.
So, and he had come out and actually done a workshop for people. So to be able to get in front of somebody like that, he bought NWA, 2017? To bring it back, man. He saw the value. He also was a wrestling fan, but for him to come out and give that time to our people, and not just to the wrestlers, to people that are like, hey, I want to do promo. Tell me if this is good or not. I mean, this man loves it, and he wants to see it succeed at every level, and EC3 and everybody else at every level are the same way, same passion, and the same mentorship goes to everybody.
And I definitely push my guys to him. I get mad when they're not being used because I believe our roster is better than the NWA's right now. I said it. NWA Exodus is better than the NWA. It's because I'm on both, but but no. Very proud of these guys, and I don't know.
Are you honestly,
leader, like there's some sort of
you
leadership.
gotta go to the show. You just gotta go to the shows. Like the
Really
shows sell itself. Honestly, just go, and you'll have a great time.
At 6:05, you'll be out by 9:05, so you still have a whole night. So you can go do whatever you do, whatever weird Saturday night endeavors you want. It's kind of like.
See, but I don't think people after the show. I'll be honest. Like the shows I go, I don't think people want to leave. Like after
Well, then
shows.
we'll be having an after party at the Wild Goose in Willoughby, so you don't have to.
Let's go.
Let's
They have the best pizza
They
ever.
do have fantastic pizza, but also too, sometimes people are hesitant. I went to a wrestling show. It was 4.5 hours. It took forever. Like, nah.
You don't even realize. I'm not saying this. I'm legit. Like, going to these shows, you do not realize like how long the shows are
It
because
moves.
it just flies. There's a great flow. You guys do a great job putting the show together. Like, there's a great flow.
Life is a flow.
It is.
Just gotta feel it, man. Just gotta feel it. Ups and downs. It's a roller coaster.
It be like that, man.
It does be like that.
It be like that. I'm not even talking to the mic anymore. I gave up.
Oh,
Well,
man.
thank you guys
Yes.
very much for coming in studio.
Yeah.
In studio. This I hope you like the studio. Pete, he does a great job. He's back there somewhere.
Yay, Pete.
Driving. He does a great job. Keep us in line. Well, me in line.
You-
Kyle, different story.
Kind of a
but-
loose cannon. to be honest.
I'd be happy to come back. I'd be happy to facilitate this room with tons of talent. Send them up whenever you want them, man.
All right.
Anytime. Though, with your insurance guy, and hopefully,
I'm looking
we
for
are
a new
looking
rep,
for
man,
more
I know.
sponsors, but
Just don't take them from me.
That's right.
It's always on the show. Like from State Farm.
there you go.
There it is.
Amanda Casey. By the way, you got to bring Spano.
He said to tell you hi.
Yeah, Spano's my guy. You
Yeah.
gotta bring Spano to these shows.
Listen, so we have in the radio studio, we have a mannequin. You remember Bob, the armless, legless mannequin. And for some reason this morning, I decided I wanted to turn him into Jobu. And so we had a Bart Simpson stuffed animal in the studio that was left from who knows when. So I ripped his arm off and I pulled the stuffing out and I found a glue stick and I made Jobu hair and I made his little cigar. And Spano came in, and this is our midday guy. He came in and he goes, "Do you know how Jobu helped the Indians?"
Why
He
am I not
didn't.
surprised?
He didn't help them.
No, he didn't. Because Serrano said,
He said, "I'll do it myself."
"Fuck you, Joe Boo, I'll do it myself."
He said what?
"Fuck you, Joe Boo, I'll do it myself."
That's right.
Then
He lost it.
He hit a 2-run homer to tie the game.
He said,
against
"Get
the
that thing out of here." I'm like, man, whatever. Don't ruin my fun.
Spano's.
All of a sudden, I couldn't hit a curveball.
I know. I don't know what happened. Amanda,
Jesus Christ can hit a curveball, by the way.
Yeah,
that's
that's
true.
be honest.
Very
No doubt.
Well, that's the end of the 20-minute interview. Did we go 20 minutes?
Yeah.
All right.
Really?
Yeah, there we go. EC3,
Thank
NWA World Heavyweight Champion, Amanda Casey, WONE. Got to wake up in the morning.
I do.
Spats, you don't want to make them upset.
No, he's scared of me. Stop it. Especially since I've been hanging out with these guys.
Oh,
Get
yeah,
outta here.
yeah. Check them out, definitely. And this, again, Saturday,
August.
Wow, August
Thank you.
24th.
August 24th.
I'm thinking of
Doors at
winter already.
505
Oh.
Tree Lawn Music Hall. EXO Pro, exopro.wrestling.com. Get your tickets.
Get them now because it's going to sell out.
It is
Yeah.
going to
Oh,
sell out.
God.
And they sell out quick, too. I'm not even joking. Like, you might be up there, so get it. And if you can't make it, it's now streaming on YouTube as well.
YouTube.com/NWA.
So, definitely. All right. Well, thank you guys for
Yes.
coming in the studio.
Thank you.
This has been fun. I was going to say, hey, help me cut a promo or something, but we're out of time. So.
I think Double A wants to get chopped.
No,
Yes!
I do not. No, I
Yes!
do not.
He
no,
told
no,
me
no,
he
no,
wants
no.
to get
no,
chopped.
No. Sir, that's okay.
How
You
many
don't
times
need-
people ask you
Sir,
to do that?
Oh, you
Sir,
meant
well,
from
gotta be
him.
insane.
I thought you
I
meant
would-
from me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I got you.
I'm cool with it.
Hell no, I'm not cool with that. No.
I wanted Adam Sure to choke slam you, but we didn't get to do that.
No, we're good. We're good.
I still,
no.
it's one of my wish list items. People have the Amazon wish list and all that stuff. It's one of mine to get someone. He has a problem. with Mr. Braun Strowman, this guy over here, don't you?
That's not their concern.
Well, he's good. He's good, buddy. He's.
I know Braun.
Yeah.
I'm sure Braun's a great guy. I'm sure he's a great guy.
Thank you both so much. We really appreciate you guys coming out.
We have more of the Side Hustle podcast. Kyle will be here, and I might be through a table. We're back after this.
Awesome interview.
I know, and we're gonna talk about some of the other stuff here in a little bit, but it's just getting that insight, just getting, it's interesting, just thinking about, the territories and the classic thing, and what's crazy. So at the very beginning of the interview, I mentioned the 605 thing, and EC3 brought up that he is he was a WWF fan, so he had to learn that concept. But to hear his role, to hear Amanda's role, it's kind of a grassroots effort with Exodus Pro Wrestling. To see it grow in the last year has been amazing. It's been incredible.
With someone, too, like EC3, who's been in this business, as we mentioned during the interview, for decades, and what he's been able to experience and learn along the way and see through, the different eyes of, we talked about the TNA time, obviously, too, with the Kurt Angles and the Samoa Joes and all those guys, and Bobby Lashley in his prime when he was in TNA too, killing it and all that, to WWE the second time around too, where he was around some of the big names, the Roman Reigns, the John Cena's, that kind of stuff, seeing all of this and being able to kind of like, hey, trim the fat on things that didn't work and what did work, and apply that to his already wide array of knowledge into pro wrestling. It was truly awesome to see, and we're looking forward to having him on again sometime.
What did you think hearing him talk about the creative process, the writing, with Exodus Pro?
I always feel like it's a struggle because you want everything to be engaging, especially when you're a bit smaller. You don't have the budget of some of these bigger. Okay, we can afford to have this flop or not do as well, or we can not use that guy this week or that girl this week. Like, he has that responsibility to want to make sure everyone is being used properly because they're all talented as hell over at Exodus, and then B, being able to make sure he has good stuff for them, too. Being creative, having that mind. He's legit kind of creating his own narrative when I say that, but it's like it's very true from a standpoint of having that mindset. He obviously credits a couple different people during the interview as well, Aaron Stevens being one of them, former Damian Sandow, obviously what he's been able to bring, and Amanda, too, in her right. She obviously brings ideas, being a lifelong fan and seeing all these different things.
She gave us business ideas too, which we need to follow up on.
We do.
I'm not even joking about that.
But honestly, you can tell he has a mind for this, and it's only going to keep projecting them and pulling them forward and up and growing even further. And that obviously starts with being able to live stream this too. So if you can't get one of those tickets, which again, exopro.com, make sure you guys go and check it out. Get your ticket for August 24th. I mean, you can still see this, experience it, and then want to obviously check it out again in the future because they're not done. They're just getting started.
I found it interesting that, I kept thinking of Paul Heyman from this standpoint. Paul Heyman, creative genius of all that. If Paul Heyman just had to just write ECW, like the original ECW, he's just creative control, and that's it. He didn't have to worry about the books. Didn't have to worry about the marketing. Didn't have to worry about, all the other grassroots things that comes with running a business. It would be so much easier. So EC3 studying, different people in the business. And he's like, dude, I'm scared sometimes to look at this phone because, the writing and the creative part, that's the fun stuff.
Yeah.
But then it's making sure all the checks clear, making sure the bookings are in place, making sure that the marketing is in place. There's a ton of business things that he is responsible for. And, you had a great question during the interview about, he is talented, very talented enough. If he easily wanted to, he could go right back to WWE and be an absolute beast.
We talked about it. It's like LA Knight's almost like a clone
Mm-hmm.
of EC3 from a standpoint of same size, same build, same character as far as like having that uber confidence in themselves, everything too. Moveset's even fairly similar as well. Like it's like we talked about the joke in the top rope thing. He doesn't have to do that. I'm not gonna It was leg day. It was leg day today for EC3, so we don't want him to have to jump into that. But still,
Yeah.
I mean, but still, nevertheless, dude is like jacked. But I mean, it's you see that person, and he talked about obviously right place, wrong time, right place, wrong place, wrong time,
Yeah.
wrong place, right time, that kind of stuff. I mean, it's going to be one of those things that I always wonder
Yeah, it is
because
true.
he checks even
does.
the old regime with Vince
Yeah,
and those
he
guys
does.
too. He checks all those boxes
And he was a main event talent in TNA for a reason.
everywhere else.
At TNA
Everywhere
for a
else.
reason, NXT for a reason.
Yes.
But sitting right next to him.
Yeah,
Right next to him.
he grabbed your thigh. I thought he was going to like pull it off.
He could have.
He could have.
He could have. And don't joke about doing chops. Fuck that. Don't joke about that.
Oh. Double A said a swear. Third week in a row, he said fuck.
No, don't do that, okay? Because I'm not doing this show next week if he was chopping me, okay? I'll take the week off.
Honestly, I would have took it.
Fine. You're a bigger man than me. I ain't taking no chop from a pro wrestler. You trained. I didn't. I'm just a fan.
I didn't
all
want to
right?
tell him I trained. I didn't want to tell him. That opens the door even
I
more.
know it does.
It opens the
I
door.
know it does.
Oh, so you did.
Yeah. No, but him sitting here, yes, he checks all the boxes. You could tell though he's having so much fun.
Yeah.
And honestly, it feels there's more fulfillment in what he's doing now.
Mm-hmm.
He's basically, hey, I'm competing all over the world, NWA World Champion. I'm competing not only in the ring, but outside the ring, in the creative, in business, to be the best regional affiliate within the NWA, period. That's great pride, to be that promotion that the NWA as an organization can look at and say, that is how you do it. Exodus Pro Wrestling here in Cleveland, that's how you do it. That's how you get the job done. So, again, a lot to dissect, and we will dissect the interview in weeks, to come. But
Again, another thank you to both of them for making time. Obviously, Amanda's day job, so to speak, working on WONE down in Akron, and she's the morning show host, 5:30 to 10. So for her to stop out and make time for us, and again, EC3, like he's busy as hell. He's running a promotion essentially while being world heavyweight champion of the NWA. I mean, it's a lot on his plate. So we appreciate them making time for us and coming through and
coming in studio.
And also to talk about a great event with a lot of talented people, too, with, XO Pro and what they got going on. And it's going to be a fun show, and I think we can safely say we're probably going to be there, too, and we're going to enjoy it. So
I like how he said, if you want to be a good father, go to...
For once, was his quote. If you want to be a good dad for once, take your kids to the show.
Oh,
love to see
it. All right. We thank them both for coming on the show. All right, let's... I'm on such a high after that interview. I know we got other stuff we got to do. We'll get. I was on a high.
Well, we'll go from from one chief to another, so to speak.
Okay.
EC3 essentially is kind of like the chief of this.
Yeah, he is.
XO Pro NWA affiliate, kind of working through that, and the OTC made his official return.
Yes, he did.
This past week on Raw, SmackDown, I should say. He's not on Raw. Maybe when they go to Netflix.
He's in WWE programming, but did not talk.
No,
did not talk.
Didn't say anything.
And
Just beat the hell out of the bloodline.
I wonder if he is going to talk I'm sure he's going to talk.
Well, he's not mute. He will say something.
He's going to say something. He's going to do more than, boy, that was terrible. But he's going to.
Yeah, now it's a whole thing. I imagine they're going to make a shirt that says, ooh,
Thank you, Cleveland, for
but
that.
Like this whole thing, and obviously came back, blew up the bloodline, minus one person. we talked about this before. Even though Solo Sikoa is the tribal chief, so to speak, it feels like they are making the real match with Roman and Jacob Fatu.
And you know what? And I just think about Kyle, the difference a little bit here between the Triple H WWE and the Vince McMahon WWE, where I don't know if Jacob Fatu would get this much of a push, like blatant push, knowing that, again, right now he is not the leader of the Temu bloodline. You know, so I mean, to I think Vince would have heavily pushed Solo to have those big spots.
I think Vince wouldn't have even hired Jacob. Had evidence by him not
That's
hiring
true.
Jacob.
No,
Yeah.
that's a great point by you.
When you have a felony, armed, robbery
Uh-huh.
on your rap sheet, it's tough
Yeah.
to get past someone who's a stickler for rules, even though he broke a lot of them.
I think we
But-
have to find out, though, from Roman's side, back to your original question about Roman and what is he going to talk? What should he say? I think, yes, Solo has thrown major insults at Roman Reigns. Yes, Solo has, wants power. And yes, in family dynamics, everybody wants to be the leader in some way, shape, or form. Everyone does. I thought Roman Reigns was a family man. I thought Roman Reigns cared about his family. So
Well,
why
the Tongans are loosely related.
loosely related?
Very loosely. There's a difference between the Samoans and the Tongans. I told you, they're actually rivals.
Yeah.
So Solo actually broke family protocol by recruiting Tongans.
So we need to hear that, I think, from Roman. I
That's
think
just-
there are some who don't understand
That's
that.
from my trip to Hawaii. I found a lot about it.
Hey.
But I mean, because when you're out there, Pacific Islanders, all that stuff, you hear more about the stories and the origins of all the different islands and all that stuff. And yeah, he kind of went back on it a little bit. The only one that really kind of is family is Jacob Fatu.
So, okay.
And Roman hasn't touched him yet.
Roman hasn't seen him yet.
Exactly. What will he do when he sees him?
Because what? At SummerSlam, the injury happened.
They purposely
The
kept Jake-
injury happened before Roman came out.
And it would not surprise me if Paul Heyman and that group of guys that are writing this story did go to the extent of hey Jacob, put on a boot, walk out of SummerSlam with a boot, that kind of
Yeah.
thing. Let's sell this thing.
Yeah.
It also wouldn't surprise me if he actually hurt himself. But then again, when we saw the bump come down on that table, it didn't look like he messed up his knee at all. It looked like he landed flat. So you never know.
And I believe Paul Heyman was backstage at SummerSlam. I think he was there. I think we got some footage.
He's backstage every week.
Yeah.
And he's always back there because this is his baby. His creative baby, him, Roman, Triple H, they've all kind of cultivated this bloodline story from the beginning.
So here's the thing here. I think I'm trying to envision a path here. So will we see Roman in the ring before Survivor Series? And I point out Survivor Series in particular. We know it's the flagship pay-per-view. We know probably a War Games situation involving Bloodline. But before that, you got the Berlin pay-per-view, or PLE, and you got Bad Blood, which they're actually making a huge deal of Bad Blood, as you've been pointing out for weeks now. I would imagine, first, he has to fight Solo. Now, Dave Meltzer, who's your favorite, and apparently EC3's favorite,
Meltzer Marks.
I sensed the bonding moment that you both had.
Felt pretty liberating when he said that.
I felt the
You
joy.
are not alone.
I felt fans. I wish
Except you,
you,
Dave Meltzer, you're fucking alone.
fans. I wish you were sitting
Loser.
where we were sitting. Actually, I wish you were sitting where I was sitting, because to feel the joy of Dave Meltzer hater, right by you, and just the
I don't know if he's a
energy.
hater, but I mean,
I'm
I'm a hater. I don't fucking care. He's not part of the business, so I can say whatever I want.
I know, yeah. But he has to fight, not Dave Meltzer, Roman has to fight Solo again.
Well, for the first time.
Yeah, for the
He's
first
never had a
time.
match with him.
Yeah. So I would imagine
Bad Blood makes more sense.
Bad Blood makes more sense.
It literally is in the title.
Yeah.
Bloodline, Bad Blood. I mean,
Mhm.
come on, it writes itself. But going to Berlin and having these major international shows, I'd imagine they want some sort of presence there. Maybe they have tribal court at Bash in Berlin.
I think they have to have something.
There has to be something with this story. They can't do nothing, and if they did, I'd be shocked. At the bar minimum, the tag titles will be defended. Whoever is going to get the number one contender.
See,
but I mean, still.
So here's the crazy thing, Kyle. I thought coming out of SummerSlam, we were going to get Timu Bloodline, Kobe, Timu Bloodline
R.I.P.
versus Kevin Owens and Randy Orton.
Oopsie doopsie.
Boy, I was wrong
Now
there.
they're both in world championship
They're both in
matches.
World championship matches.
I told you what was going to happen with KO, right? I mean,
Yeah,
this-
I mean, again, the SmackDown roster is just...
well, they're biding time now for Cody. And they teased Roman getting a match. Obviously, Kevin stepped in the way of that. That's going to keep Roman busy with Solo and the Bloodline.
I think Roman's going to be busy the rest of the calendar year.
I don't think we're going to. The sad part is your fantasy booking of the Royal Rumble next year might actually happen.
I think
It
so.
could come down to Roman and Punk. But I mean,
Well, all the bracelet
no
thing.
bracelet involved.
Hey,
but-
are you happy he explained the bracelet thing on Raw?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So,
Again, it's not about the fucking bracelet, you dumb marks on social media. No, why do you fucking care about a bracelet? Why is it feud about a bracelet? I explained it to you last week. Have someone talk shit about your wife and your kid. Every single week when you can't do anything because you're hurt half the time. You probably want to beat the shit out of them too, right? It makes a lot of sense. It's all about emotions. It's not about a fucking bracelet, you idiots.
Roman versus Punk last. I'm kidding.
Last bracelet standing.
Punk
stupid.
on his way to WrestleMania. Woo, bracelet gone.
He should get 50 bracelets made with Drew McIntyre's cat and then his mom and then his wife's name on it and
It's-
throw
it's
it into the crowd.
Well, it's the Taylor Swift storyline with the friendship bracelets.
Yeah.
That's really what it is. I mean,
That's what I would do.
yeah.
If I were CM Punk, I'd play it up. Like, all right, fuck you then. He comes out with a bracelet. Drew, what was your cat's name, Drew? Well, I got it on my wrist.
So Roman and Solo, they're gonna face off.
At some point.
At some point.
Bad Blood seems like it makes the most sense. More time to build. Roman, obviously, he's not going to be at every show, so it gives them time to.
I don't think Kyle, and it's not a complaint. It's actually a good thing. To win Roman and Jacob Fatu touch, I don't think have a match. I don't think it will happen in 2024.
I don't think it. Honestly, that one-on-one match, I don't know if it's going to happen, period. Just because I feel like this is eventually going to curtail back to The Rock getting involved in some capacity, and we're going to get Roman and Rock. And because WrestleMania is in Vegas,
Yeah, I think it's gonna happen.
I think it's going to happen there. So you may not get, and Jacob Fatu at that point, it's gonna have to be a main event of a show involving probably a championship at some point.
Well, I guess look.
So maybe years down the road it could be a thing because they're going to build Jacob up big time. But I mean, I don't know.
I mean, SummerSlam next year.
That's a possibility.
Possible. I know it's like forecasting like a 14-day weather forecast, but
Yeah,
possible.
8 months ahead of time.
8 months ahead. Dick Goddard was the best at that, by the way.
LRC, by the way, they actually do that. Shout out to Dean Wysocki and Justin Storm in Fargo, North Dakota. They do a good job.
Yeah, he does. All right, let's.
You have no idea what the fuck I'm talking about.
I have no idea. All right, let's fly through this quick here so we can get going. Because some of the topics will be preempted till next week.
No, not really. We kind of hit everything we wanted to.
Yeah, we'll be. You have here which feud should be inside Hell in a Cell,
Should be. Now,
and the options here is McIntyre versus Punk, Rhea Ripley versus Liv Morgan, Damian Priest versus Finn Balor.
Unfortunately, I think I know the answer now because it looks like Punk and McIntyre are heading towards strap match at Bash at Berlin. But it honestly feels like they're going to build towards Balor and Priest in that situation. I mean, Liv's been running a lot, but I mean, so you can make the case for Rhea and Liv, and honestly, they could do there's a men's Hell in a Cell and a women's Hell in a Cell, and they both could get it. I would like to imagine they're going to make it feel more special and have only one. And it just kind of makes sense. Deep rooted years of being together.
Yeah.
Liv and Rhea had a run as, with the tag team and all that stuff. And there's obviously a great story there. But Finn and Damian were like brothers.
I know.
Like entrenched in this Judgment Day thing for years. And to have it go the way it's gone, I feel like that is the blood feud
Yeah.
of bad blood, and that should be in Hell in a Cell.
By the way, how about Finn Balor saying, "Hey, we have no leaders. Who's always sitting in the middle, in front, directing traffic?"
Nobody cares right now. They're riding high. It's fresh. It's new. It's cool. They're thinking about changing their name to Street Trash. Like that's another Dave Meltzer report. You fucking mark. But nevertheless, I mean, it's
okay. I have to mention this. We didn't have time to put the clip in, but I have to mention Dominik Mysterio. I have to mention this. He was on Logan Paul's podcast.
Yeah.
It's a great listen. Check it out. One of the comments that he made was about separating, work wife from home wife. So, Rhea Ripley licks his face, and then he goes home and he's Dominik. I guess I'm asking, if you're in that position, and we're seeing it with Jey Uso on the other side, apparently, where maybe some wrestlers are not comfortable with this type of storyline. Would you be comfortable if your wife or whoever, or your lady for whoever, is like, look, I'm not cool with you, making out every week with another woman on television?
Are you cool with the checks I bring in every week?
I'm main eventing shows.
It's a scripted show. I know EC3 obviously said they're not actors. I get that. But in a sense, you do a lot of acting. You do a lot of, it's character work. It doesn't mean it's actually me. It's an extension of myself. But you are my other half. So you need to relax and understand, like, hey, this is the thing. And if you're that self-conscious about it, well, then maybe it's not the right person for you.
Hey, you got a point there. On YouTube, at Side Hustle Podcast 216. Hit the search. We will be there.
Type that anywhere. Any of the search engines you want. If you want to try and find us, Side Hustle Podcast. And make sure you put the 216 after. A lot of side hustles around.
Apparently.
But we're the main side hustles. So
Yeah.
just put that 216 afterwards. You'll be able to find us. No problem. Any of them. YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter. Even obviously the audio channels too. iHeartRadio app, Spotify. We're all over the place. If you guys want something to listen to while you're working, if you're at home and you want a comfort thing to watch while you fall asleep, if you want to be a good dad for once and want to watch us with your children, make sure they're ready for some colorful language. But other than that, you're going to have a great fucking time.
Yeah, you will. Again, I want to thank EC3, Amanda Casey for coming on the show. Check their interview out if you made it this far. So check it out again right here.
We're going to post that separately too, obviously, on the YouTube channel as well, so you guys can get a full snippet of that. I mean, it's a great week talk to. We talked about kind of focusing a little more on guests post SummerSlam. Appreciate the work, man.
Oh,
that was awesome.
No problem at
it's
all.
a budding relationship we're excited about with Exodus, too.
I know. It is fun. All right. We'll talk to you guys next week back here at the studio with the PowerPoint. We'll talk to you there for Kyle Cordell, Double A Anthony Alfred signing off. And I'm taking this tie off.
So you gonna wear a tie every week now? Or
Hell no. I'm done. No.
Is it clip-on or what is it?
No, it's not a clip-on.
I
had this cleaned.
You did?
I did.
Where do you clean miniature suits from?
Shut up. I'm out of here. Had enough of this. By the way, don't skip leg day.
Never do.